So Dicey Dungeon's a really fun game until you try to play with the Inventor. On top of your dice already being RNG, and the kind of cards you get being RNG, the character also has a feature at the end of their turn, or combat rather, that you have to give up one of their pieces of equipment. Now you might think as long as you're getting more equipment that's not so bad, but when you're giving up good equipment that you want to keep and you decide, hey, I don't want to get rid of that, I'm going to get rid of a random other thing, and that gets rid of your other random thing that's really good with the item that you don't want to get rid of in the first place, it just ruins everything. Now, definitely there is a big layer of strategy to using this character because of this aspect. Because every decision you do with this character feel very impactful. Do you buy a piece of scrap that you can always get rid of when you want to? Or do you risk the chance of losing a precious item because you don't want to lose anything else? Of course, there's also thinking ahead. What kind of battles do I have up ahead? Is the item it wants me to scrap away something that will help me in the next fight? Because every item you scrap away gives you a special benefit having to do with that card you just had. Since a fire-based card can end up turning into a free fire attack or a free burn attack, or a healing card could just turn into a free heal each turn. But of course it only lasts for that one combat. But the biggest issue that comes to this character is trying to have a balanced deck that you can offer up some of your items but still be able to compete and do whatever you want against enemies going forward. Now today I was also playing on a special mode that changes all of the cards and changes status effect. This makes this character an even larger pain in the ass because now you have all these different things you have to look out for. It's not like playing your normal game, it's a whole new set of status effects, a whole new set of cards you have to get used to. This mode also changes enemy behaviors, which can make them a little more difficult to deal with if you don't remember what they do. I found that I was constantly just going and looking at what each status effect even did because I simply forgot what they would do because it's just a different way of doing it than normally. For some reason, this just doesn't click with me. Door number 5 on the Inventor was my hard stuck in the game. I was trying to complete all the characters. I got to this like a year ago and I just threw my head at it, couldn't really get it, but then again, didn't try too hard, and now here I am trying it again. The problem I keep on running into with this character is just not wanting to offer anything up as scrap. I'll go into a fight feeling very confident with my cards I have, and then it ends, and it makes me want to offer something, and I say, no, I don't want to offer that, so I try to offer something I don't want, and it gets rid of my best stuff. The big thing you will learn playing with this character is sacrifice is key. You need to be able to sacrifice things, but also stockpile cards you come across, that way you can actually beat the character. You might play it thinking, but I should save my gold at the shop so that when the next shop comes by I have the gold to buy something. I'll tell you right now, it's not worth it. Just spend your gold now, stockpile your cards, you're going to get enough money for the next shop. Just keep on getting these cards and make sure you offer them if you can. Whatever you do, you want to save your best cards until the end. What I found to be the winning combination for this specific character's game mode was stacking all the healing cards I can get. Mosquito Bite, for instance, will drain 1 HP. If you upgrade it, it's 2. They also have a very, very strong card that has a maximum of 4 you can play on it, and it gives you armor along with resistance. You get 1 free resistance just for having the card equipped, and depending on what number you put in, 1 through 4, you get that much armor, which heals you at the beginning of your next turn. Stacking these 2 cards together, I ended up making sure my health stays high, as long as I'm always playing both of them, as well as reducing status ailments that I have, because the resistance you get makes it so that whichever status ailment hits you next, it'll negate 1 point of it. Now the problem with the second item, I believe it was named High V Jacket or something, is that it's a 2-space card. Having it as a 2-space card means it's going to be offered a little more frequently or have a higher chance being offered because your deck will inadvertently be smaller. So if you don't have it upgraded, then you're running with a smaller deck. And a problem that I started to come across was how can I deal enough damage to outlive and survive against some of these harder hitting opponents. That's when I found Chainsaw, a 1-space card that requires 2 6s to use. It'll deal 12 damage if you can pull it off, but if they're at full HP it does 24 instead. Now of course this alone isn't that amazing just because it relies on getting double 6s. Now this synergizes really well with Focus on this character, which makes all of your dice rolls into a 6. Now the problem with having all your dice rolls into a 6 is that if you need something that has a maximum amount you can go up to, such as High V Jacket or whatever, where you can have a max of a 4, well, either you want to use it first, or Focus is going to screw you over. But it's really also not that big of a deal, because this character gets a lot of things that can help you get double 6s. For instance, there's a card that'll let you duplicate 1 and get your dice back, but it's random, and that can screw you over sometimes depending on what you get. There's also cards that you can bump numbers up on. There's cards that just help you if you scrap them to be able to reroll your dice and get extra 6s in your hand. But then your problem ends up becoming, how do I keep these cards on me if they are the backbone of my deck? Because obviously you're going to need to use your good cards to be able to win your fights, or else you're just going to die and the whole run's over. And that's why I say stockpile as many cards as you can, because when you don't have any scrap that will purposely be used as scrap, they're usually gray cards, then you can swap out some of your important backbone cards with some of these less good cards, and then go into battles, lose some HP, but you should be fine as long as you have some apples on the field, or if you're leveling up to full. Now, on every other character, I usually try to full clear everything, but for this challenge, screw that. I'm going to kill things, and then if I have nothing else I can collect on the floor, I'm just leaving. This will, one, help me be able to stay at topped up on HP, but also help me not have to scrap anything important out of my deck. Of course, the downside to not leveling up is you're not going to have as many dice as you possibly can, or a higher max HP count. I think it's much more important to keep a very well-balanced deck than it is to go into each encounter, even if you have an extra dice or higher HP stat, and having a really trashy deck to work with, because at the end of the day, if you have a bad deck to work with, it doesn't matter what your rolls are, you're just going to lose against some enemies. As such, in my winning run, I actually skipped taking out all the enemies like I usually do, and just kind of rushed to the boss floor once I had a deck I felt very comfortable with, and I took on the boss. And I'll tell you what, if I didn't have the healing items and stuff that I had on this deck, I don't think I would have won, because the fight actually got pretty close. They did a lot of damage to me very rapidly that I couldn't even heal up on enough. But if I wasn't able to heal at all, I think I would have just lost outright. And thankfully, I had just enough damage with the chainsaw to be able to rip and tear right through the dragon, and baba booey, I beat door number 5 on the Inventor. Something I haven't been able to accomplish in about a year now, because I stopped playing the game and just got so agitated even looking at the character I didn't want to do it. But besides that, if you enjoyed, like, comment, sub, whatever you want. This is also day number 10 of daily uploads up until Christmas. There's 15 days left, isn't that exciting? And as such, the collage is playing in the background where I draw each day of whatever I did, something to go with it. But that's it. See you around.